on pole position. Beaubier, Fong, and Sean Dylan Kelly on the front row.
And you're going to have Josh Herron, Richie Escalante, and Jake Gagne, who's got to be happy to see this rain, Greg. Hayden Gillum, Benjamin Smith, and Ashton Yates on row 3. Then you got Bryce Kornbrow, JD Beach, and Max Flinders. A little further back, Danilo Lewis, Jason Waters, Keon Campbell, Giannato, and Alex Arango rounding out row 6. In our brief little warm-up that we had for these riders.
All right, there we go. Revs are up. Race underway. Race 1, Superbike 2025 MotoAmerica Superbike Championship. And off we go into turn number 1. It looks like it's going to be Beaubier.
Yeah, it looks like Cam Beaubier with Bobby Fong, and it's just so good to see.
So Cameron Beaubier and the Tytler Cycles BMW M1000RR behind him. Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha of Jake Gagne, and Josh Herron makes a move but isn't able to slow it down in between 10A and 10B, and Bobby Fong gets back around him. So the number 1 plate on that Warhorse HSBK Racing Ducati is going to do it again at the bottom of the hill, and a little bit of contact there, and Fong has to check up.
So these guys have opened up quite a big gap. Just quite can't see there in that shot exactly what had happened there. Well, even more important, Greg, where's Gagne going to go past Beaubier? Because Beaubier is so good out of that turn 7 area where it doesn't look like Gagne quite has the grip. I saw his bike go a little bit sideways that last time as they came out of there. Now you get to turn 12 here, and he's on the back as Bobby Fong has tipped over. Bobby Fong on the 50 has fallen down in that turn 10 area. So he's got to try to get this bike back up, and hopefully there's not too much damage to the thing. We're going to get a look here. Bobby Fong is going to be 4th in your picture, and you're going to see he's going to lean it back to the right and just probably lose the front, Greg. Just loses the front and ends up in that gravel. And these 3 were pretty close together. You see Richie Escalante, and how about a big shout out for Benjamin Smith there on the 78, doing a tremendous job running with the factory guys again here. You can see him, Greg, right up the back of Escalante. These 3 actually came across the line really close together.
He said he's actually more confident in the rain setup than he's ever been before on this bike, especially after the wet conditions we saw last round at Barber.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows the grit of a true racer. Like, tips over, 5 minutes, 10 minutes before the race, and look at him. Look at him now. He doesn't care. He just puts it behind him and races forward. Jake Gagne had the faster top speed, 171 to Beaubier's 167. So suspiciously, what I think might be happening is when we talk about rain setup, I think perhaps the way the electronics are set up for Gagne and his Attack Performance Progressive Yamaha He's looking good now.
You can hear the Suzuki. I can hear that thing spinning up. Did you hear it?
Yep.
I could hear that through our headset, that the Suzuki's spinning up as it goes through turn 5, and Herron is in extremely deep into turn 6, and he's going to know, that gap was at +3, and it's going to be +0 when he comes by the next time through.
But the rider knows, or the crew chief knows what the rider wants, and he's able to give it to him quickly.
Yeah, you can see this gap is really closed up. I'm thinking about even up at the front, 36.3 for Jake Gagne. He's just ran the fastest lap of the race. As you see, STK closes up right onto the back of Herron.
And he's done a good job of holding off the advancements of Sean Dylan Kelly, but there's still a half a lap to go.
It was funny because it's almost like STK made the same mistake.
But he comes down to the final time, onto the front straightaway, looking for his second win of the season. Cameron Beaubier behind the bubble to the stripe, and will take his Tytler Cycles BMW to victory number 1 of the weekend. Now here's another look at it, JP, as they come up over the top of the hill. Tell us what happened.
STK made that pass, and as you know, Herron's not going to be denied easily. This guy always fights back, but what a great job from both of these riders. Get through that last corner. STK trying to get on that podium on the 40.
Down the hill comes the Stock 1000 competitor in the Superbike Cup category on that real steel Honda, the CBR 1000RR-R SP2, and he'll take that home. 8th place points for JD Beach and 8 points for that.
Vision Well M4 X-Star Suzuki, but it's all about Cam Beaubier again with fastest lap of the race, Greg, 34.9 on the final lap. As you said, he got better with each lap, especially towards the end of the race. And
having heard from the top 3 competitors, you go through the rest of the results. Roger Hayden and Benjamin Smith able to finish in 5th after a rough start to the weekend. That's a great result.
Great result. And look at his best time, a 36.6. Jake Gagne's best time was a 36.0. The other guys were just a little bit quicker, so just a really good race for Ben. Struggled Friday, and pretty cool to see him get that good result today.
We're making the note towards the end of that race that Josh Herron, Sean Dillon Kelly, they were quicker than Cam Beaubier and Jake Gagne, but then right at the end of that race, Cameron Beaubier was able to improve that lap time, a 1:34.9 for him on the final lap to get the quickest lap of the race.
It kept being that 0.6 of a second margin, except this last lap. It was a 1.8 second victory off of the back of the fastest lap of the race by Beaubier. And then Herron in third, SDK so close there in fourth.